Hey peeps, today we'll talk about the latest updates to the game, and more specifically we'll talk about a point in the improvements section, which is rules of all-out war has been massively changed. Nowhere is said what the changes actually are, so in this video I'll do exactly that. I'll cover the changes and the new stuff regarding all-out war as it's an upcoming event. If you want to read the rules for yourself, you can go to the cross-server page in the All Out War section and then click on the rules button. Here's everything that are we going through. We have normal and Vanguard battlefield. The rules for these two sections are the same, only the rewards are different, so I won't be going through the rules on both of them. Pretty much the rules are all the same as before, just to the allocation phase. In the allocation phase we have our first change. It's about the duration. It used to be 4 days and now it's 3 days, meaning the event itself, the All Out War event, would be shorter by 1 day, which isn't a big deal, but still we're covering all changes in this video. The next change in the details tab is in the battle phase. So in the battle phase, alliance leaders of a faction they will be appointed as commanders, and they can appoint lords from their alliance as lieutenants. Before it used to be 2 lieutenants per alliance can be appointed, and now it's 4. So that means there will be more people in the management process of a faction, which can be a little bit chaotic, but it can be also quite nice if they get along together pretty well. So we'll have to see how this change actually plays out. So when it comes to the match description, we have a few changes in the cities. The Twin Dragon city no longer increases all-out war enemy casualty rate by 10%. That buff has been removed. And the other change here is with the Small Blessing City, it now increases total attack, defense and health by 10%. Those changes aren't big in numbers, but I think they will have an impact on how the event is played and the results of battles. All the other buildings are the same, all the other cities, excuse me, and all the buildings are the same. After that we have some descriptions, and we have 3 new descriptions that describe 3 new features. We have the Hot Springs, the Twin Dragon Guards and the Dragon Valley domain. I will go into detail for those in a bit, but first I'll scroll down to the bottom. The village occupation process is exactly the same as before. The city occupation process, on the other hand, has a small change. Now, whenever you declare a war against a neutral city, it starts after 3 minutes instead of 5, which should help keep the event a bit more fast-paced when it comes to fighting NPCs and real players or PvP. The other stuff about the city occupation process are exactly the same. Then we have the factions, which haven't changed, and we're arriving at the resilience point, which has a big change. So it says that every 6 seconds spent in battle consumes 1 point of resilience. That used to be 3 seconds. So we'll be losing resilience twice as low than before. And that should have an enormous impact on the battles, on how the event is played, because people will be having more resilience, and therefore they'll be on a different place in this resilience table, if I can say it like that. So this change, I'm looking forward to seeing actually how it impacts the gameplay of the event. Continuing on with the changes, we have some All Out War hospital changes. It's actually not a change, it's an addition. Now we have that new 3rd point. Players can cancel healing queues at any time, and all resources consumed for the queue will be returned. That whole rule is new. Before, whenever you started healing, you couldn't cancel. And it's quite nice that all the resources consumed for the queue will be returned. I like this addition, and I think many more players would agree. Let's talk about the new features, starting with the Hot Springs. There are 4 hot springs in total, and the coordinates are given. The hot springs can be occupied by any faction, and they are open for 30 minutes at a time. Players can be sending their armies, their troops to the hot springs to cleanse them. Cleansing for 30 seconds continuously will reward the players. Each player that has an army for 30 seconds cleansing will receive 50 roll coins, which is the currency in All Out War for the shop, and they'll be getting their faction 1 point, 1 kingship. Important to note is that the hot spring availability cooldown is 56 hours. It's quite a long cooldown, over 2 days. So it would be quite interesting to see if factions would be going actually for the hot springs and prioritizing them, or they'll be taking a different approach. We'll have to wait and see for the event. The next new feature is the Twin Dragon Guards. So pretty much that's the description is quite close to the rebel groups that we have on the normal map, as factions will be making their way to the Dragon City, occupying new cities and progressing further down the road. Twin Dragon Guards will be appearing on the map, and players can attack those Twin Dragon Guards, and if they defeat them, they'll be getting rewards. It's not set what the rewards will be, we'll have to wait and see. Important for that is that each attack consumes 1 Dragon Blood. Dragon Blood, that's a resource that is regenerating, just like motivation, endurance, stamina, etc. And you need that to hit those Dragon Guards. The interesting part about this is that it's not said anywhere how strong they will be, if players will be taking on Dragon Guards solo, or they can be rallied, or all that kind of details. So again, we'll have to wait and see when the event starts and the feature is actually released, how it will be. So the last new feature are the Dragon Valley domains. They will be spawning on the corners of the map whenever there's a certain exploration level that's reached by the faction. And each faction can declare war on those domains 2 times a week. That's important. And the other important thing is that the domains have different difficulty levels, which means higher levels are rewarding you better for defeating them, but they're at the same time harder to kill. This whole description reminds me a bit of the Alliance bosses, so you have to defeat the previous difficulty to unlock the next one. And of course the rewards go up as you proceed with the levels. It will be an interesting new feature, and I think all factions will be prioritizing those because it's a PvE action and it's a team effort, so it would be quite rewarding. So the final changes are in the rewards tab, but I'll go really briefly through them as they are a bit irrelevant to the gameplay. The important thing you need to know is that the point system is exactly the same, the way to calculate the points is exactly the same, only the quality of the rewards has been increased. We'll be getting better and more rewards compared to before. So you can go to the normal battlefield or Vanguard battlefield rewards tab and check those out for yourself. So with that, we reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this type of content, and until next time.